Okay, so we figured since Adelle can actually speak, it would probably be a good idea to get her on the podcast.
Aim low and avoid disappointment, 'cause being surprised shouldn't be rare.
After the Swiss Air Chronicles of last episode, we thought, you know what we should do? We should bring on the person that was there, because Dill wasn't there.
True. Like, we spent the whole episode talking to me and I wasn't even there.
Exactly. But you asked really important questions, and I appreciate that, Dill.
I've got another important question.
Yes.
But before we get into that, maybe we should introduce our guest.
Yes. And you remember on our first episode, we said we wouldn't have any awesome guests. That was a lie. We do. We've got the most important, most awesomest guest of them all. It is my fiancée, Adelle.
Hello. Thank you for that intro.
It's a pleasure. I learned from radio days that it's important to always introduce your guest.
Good start, Darryn.
Yeah.
Very good.
Incredibly well.
Okay, I'm going to jump in and save this episode. Okay. And Adelle, I have a very important question for you. How accurate was Darren's telling of the story in the previous episode?
Well, funny enough, Dill, every time he tells the story, it gets a little bit less accurate. But the problem is now, even my own recollection of it is also kind of going backwards.
Right.
But yes, I would say about 70% accurate.
That's not great, Darryn. You were there and you only got 70% right.
Yes, I know, but it's like that eyewitness report vibe. You know what I mean? Because eyewitnesses is the least reliable, evidence in something. But that's the thing. Because the longer you're away from it, the more you forget, and your mind starts not making up things, but changing a couple of things of the way things were or what you remembered hearing and so forth.
Yeah, to make it more interesting.
Sorry.
But I also feel like some of these experiences we had was quite like emotionally traumatic. If I think about the interaction we had with the Swiss guy.
Yes.
Like, I remember Darryn standing there at one stage and he was absolutely frozen. He didn't know what to say or what to do.
And I think I portrayed that perfectly fine in the story. Thank you.
What, Darryn speechless? That doesn't seem accurate.
Thank you, Dill. You know what I'm going to do? I'm just going to keep quiet for this whole episode. There we go.
Brilliant. Okay, Adelle, let's go. We've got our own episode. But I wanted to add something to that is what I find sometimes when you're telling stories is that it's so vivid in your mind, but also it's such a different experience for you because you were there. And you get like halfway through the story and you realize the people aren't quite going to get it because they weren't actually experiencing it. And you have to kind of embellish some parts for it to be interesting to someone else.
I agree with you, though. I want to say this as well. It's also how you tell a story.
True.
You know what I mean? Like you could tell the same story that's perfectly accurate, where you monotone, low energy, and you just go, "This is what happened."
Yeah, I'll wait for my episode on my car.
That's coming, guys. So make sure that you have subscribed to the pod. Is it called subscribing to a podcast? I don't even know.
I think Spotify says follow.
You must follow the podcast, guys. Follow it. It's important. Yeah. Do that, and then you can hear Dill's amazing story about his car that's coming up.
Okay. Should we stop rambling on and actually get into part 2 of your journey to Portugal?
I think that's a fantastic idea because we haven't even made it to Portugal yet.
True. So yes, let's get into that. Where do we start?
So we ended off the last one. Adelle and I had just been harassed by should we call him a nice, gentle Swiss man in the Zurich airport. And after that, we kind of, we kind of went, okay, let's not judge him. This could have been just one guy. He doesn't represent all of Switzerland. So let's just, carry on and enjoy our trip. So yeah.
Yeah, he definitely did not represent all of Switzerland. If I think of when we went through customs.
Oh, yes, yes.
Oh, yeah, they definitely did not represent all of Swiss men.
So,
okay.
Let me
just leave it there.
Whoa.
Oh, okay.
Well, this is awkward. Okay. Well, before...
Wow, I don't know this part of the story.
Don't worry, there's so much to our Portugal.
Well, what I was going to ask is how many other Swiss people did you actually deal with, aside from the guy at customs or whatever you said?
So that's interesting. I mean, I actually wanted to chat about this. We thought, we've gone through the passport... we haven't got to passport control yet, but we've gone through scanning our bags, and we get to no, we did go through passport control after that. So let's tell that story. And you can tell it.
Okay, well, we get to passport control, and there we had our second encounter with some Swiss individuals. And I must say, they looked very professional, if I
Yes.
can put it that way.
In Afrikaans, we call it paraat.
Yeah, paraat,
Look
you know,
proper, yeah.
how passport control should look, you know,
So
professional.
not like South Africa.
Not
No.
like South
Okay.
Africa. But shame, I must say, they were also very, what's the word?
Yeah, like disjointed in terms of friendly to a point.
Professional,
Yeah.
but like cut off.
Yes.
This girl, we let her go in front of us in the queue, and she was quite frantic because she wanted to get a connecting flight.
Yeah.
And this guy literally just told her, "You've missed your flight." No
Oh, wow.
emotions, no regret. It was almost just like stating a fact. You've already missed your flight.
Yeah, they're very upfront. They, there's no beating around the bush with them. They just
Nice.
tell it
Sounds
as
like
it
my
is.
kind of people. I should go to Switzerland.
Cool, Dole. Don't worry, I haven't told you, but I booked your flight.
On Swiss Air? Oh,
Yes.
Okay.
You can come back and tell your story.
oh, we didn't avoid that disappointment.
But yes, that's exactly how they were, but yes, they're all well built. They take pride in what they do. You can just see they take pride. We spoke about it on the last episode, but you once again super nervous. That once again makes you look guilty, because when you pull up there and they're like, "Why are you here?" And then you know you're there for holiday, but then you're like, did I perhaps by mistake pack drugs in my bag? You know
Yes,
what I mean?
that's a common mistake. Oh no, this cocaine fell into my backpack.
Yeah, but I agree. You become very timid very quickly because you're very aware of the rules. Where in South Africa, you are aware of them, but not that you discard them, but you're easy to fall out of step. But there, you're very aware of it, and you automatically toe the line.
Well, in South Africa, it's 50-50 whether anyone actually applies the rules or not.
Exactly. Yeah. And there's nothing that 100 rand can't get you.
Okay,
Anyway,
so, jeez. Okay, so you make it to your connecting flights, I'm assuming. Anything happen on the journey from getting off the Swiss 777 to getting onto your next flight? Was it also Swiss, the next flight?
It wasn't. It was, I think, a different airline. I can't remember exactly. It's one of their partner airlines for Swiss.
Oh, one of the like regional subsidiaries. Because
Exactly.
I don't remember the airline name, but I remember you flew on an A220. So it's a little plane. You did a regional flight. What was it, like 2 hours?
Yeah, it was about 2.5 hours.
Okay, cool.
It was a brand new Airbus. Quite nice. Quite nice little
Yeah,
one.
an Airbus that is actually a Bombardier, but that's a whole other story.
Nice. Thanks, Bro Dillis, for that piece of history / plane knowledge. So yes, something did happen. So we get through that section and we were all like, right, we now building up to doing things properly because we're in a country that frowns upon doing illegal stuff. So
I think that's the definition of illegal.
Exactly.
We shouldn't do it
We shouldn't
in
do
any
it, no.
country.
So anyway, we get there and we decide, listen, we're hungry and we've got a bit of time before our connecting flight. So we said, let's go and get something to eat.
How long did you have before your next flight?
I think it was 3 hours the first one.
Yeah, it was about 3 to 4 hours.
Yeah. So we're like, right, we're going to go and get a lekker sandwich, or something awesome there from the airport, as one does when you're at the airport. You are unfortunately bound by the restaurants that are there at the airport. You can't go and do anything fancy. So we thought, let's just go and get something small. And now, for those people who don't know, Switzerland doesn't use the euro. They use the Swiss franc. Yeah. So we're like, okay, but it can't be that much more expensive, right? So we go and have a look at one of the restaurants. And what was it?
So I was craving a cup of coffee. Because,
Yes.
I mean, we landed there, it was early in the morning. I think it was about 6, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
6 o'clock in the morning. So all I wanted was a cup of coffee. And now I'm already like getting into holiday mode. So, and already trying to like adjust and think, okay, I'm thinking in euros, But I'm like, I've saved up for this. We're doing this. Let's get this cup of coffee. We go to the first place. And now we see, okay, it was, I'm trying to think, what was it, 5 Swiss francs?
Yes, I think it was
It
about
was
5.
around
yeah.
5 or 6 Swiss francs, and this was for the smallest cup of coffee.
Now, you also have to understand, I'm going to interrupt there, that most of Europeans' coffees are small by nature. South Africans' coffees are huge compared to this.
So what's 5 Swiss francs? It's like 80 rand.
So that's
No.
the thing. So we're now in the airport, and we don't have any internet access. So the first thing we do is we go to this little terminal, and you put in your flight details, and then it spits out a little a Wi-Fi code that you can use for 2 hours?
Yes, yeah, supposedly only the time that you basically there for.
Yes,
yeah.
it's a limited time that you then get Wi-Fi access. So we decide, okay, let's Google how much does a Swiss franc go for, so that we can do the conversion for my cup of coffee. Only to find out, what was it, 200 rand
No.
for
Yeah.
a cup of coffee, and that
yeah.
was the
it was about
smallest.
180, $200. Yeah.
180 to 200. And I must say,
What?
I just sank in that moment, because when you convert it back to South African rand, I was sitting there going like, I'm really craving this cup of coffee, but it's not worth 180 to 200 rand.
So did you get the coffee?
No.
I did not.
Don't blame me. Is that much?
Brew, I said I just wanted a sandwich. I just wanted something small to tide me over before we went on the thing. It was what? Something like 100 and I think it was like also about 180, 200 and something bucks for a sandwich. A sandwich.
Well, I have to give a shout out there to my friend Jason, because he's very upset that I didn't mention him in the previous episode, because he lives in Switzerland. And I remember him telling me when he moved there, his salary, and I've converted it back to rand, and I was like, jeez, dude, you're like a millionaire. And then he's like, yeah, but this is how much my rent costs. And it's like, oh, cool. When you work it out, it's like normal, because everything there is so expensive.
Sure, bro, I don't know how people do it, because we were just so taken aback. And maybe it's because we landed in Switzerland and we were thinking euro, we're going to be okay. It was 21 rand at the time to €1, which was a knock. But we did all the calculations and we looked ahead. We were looking at what the tourist attractions cost and food cost and this stuff. So we were like, okay, it's expensive, but we're going to, like Adelle said, we're going to prepare and we're going to be fine. We weren't fine. We were shooketh. We're broken. Yeah. I'm not excited. But hey, anyway.
Right, so we bypass the coffee and we head to the gate for the next flight.
Yes, we head to the gate for the next
Not you. I wasn't there.
Exactly. So Adelle and I are there. We're quite tired, but
I'm just inserting myself into your holiday, because it sounds like...
It's
actually,
okay,
it hasn't
though.
sounded...
We get the hint. You want to come along next time.
It hasn't sounded that great so far, to be honest. Hopefully it gets better.
So we walk around the airport in our time there, and then we eventually get on the plane. And we are tired. We didn't sleep much on the first flight due to all things stated in the previous episode. And we basically jump on the plane and we're trying to sleep. We're in and out of falling asleep. And it was a better flight, I must say that. But that's also because it was just Adelle and I in a 2-seater row.
Wait, you slept on the little plane?
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah.
Yes, that must have been uncomfortable.
No, see, you have the problem because you're tall. So it was less cattle class actually on the second flight than it was on the first flight.
My problem with those little planes is the seats are so upright. It's like vertical.
Well, to be honest, funny enough, it had way more leg room than
That's
the
interesting.
Swiss Air flight. It was more upright, but I've kind of learned to just sleep on my hand. But the
Okay.
leg room space made a lot of difference.
So you had more leg room on the little flipping 110 seats of plane than you did on the
It was
777.
fantastic, yeah. And all I can say once again, we fly, it was like a usual flight like down to Cape Town. And the one thing that I do enjoy about their flights is they give you chocolate at the end. So yes, they do give you water that you have to throw away.
You didn't have to throw away the chocolate.
I didn't have to throw away the
wow.
chocolate. And it was decent chocolate. The Swiss do have nice chocolate. See, we try to redeem ourselves, so Swiss Air does sponsor the
So
podcast.
Swiss Air is not going to sponsor us. The Swiss chocolate manufacturers, any of you, jump in. Now's your chance.
There we go, fully. You can just sponsor chocolate or 10,000 rand
There we
and we'll
go.
make this a video
Well,
podcast.
10,000 rand is like 10 Swiss francs. They won't even notice.
Well, what I must also mention that they didn't notice is they were very adamant about the water, but they somehow missed your gin.
And this is what I didn't say in the last episode. I actually alluded to it. And yes, so we made it through the whole of that process of scanning our bags and being absolutely cucked on by a Swiss guy and all of that. And they missed a gin bottle of alcohol in my headphone bag.
But they caught the two ladies in front of you with appetizers.
Yeah, they
And-
did.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah.
But the little gin bottle, which is in the shape of a bottle, they missed.
They missed, yeah. And it's alcohol, which you're not allowed bringing into another country. So, yeah, heavy.
Nice, Darryn, you're just admitting to criminal activities on the podcast. Yeah, the first of many times.
Well, Dol, do you know what the funny part is? I only realized that when we landed back in South Africa.
Wow.
Oh my word, this bottle has made it all the way there and back. And I didn't know that.
That's like me walking out of Spa with a bag of charcoal hanging on the back of my trolley, and I realized I never paid for it. The trolley just went straight through the thing, and I didn't see it until I got to the car.
Well, do you know what's so funny? I did the exact same thing with the chocolate the other day. I forgot to pay for it.
But see, this is now where the thing comes in, Dill. What did you do when you found that bag?
What do you think I did, Adele?
Did you put it in your car?
No, I actually went back and paid for it.
I'm so proud of you,
And
Dill.
so did I. And that's
Yeah.
the funniest thing. I even said to Adele, we're walking out, and I look down, and I'm like, what? I have my chocolate in the hand, and I know I didn't pay for this. So I was like, oh my
Can I
goodness.
interject?
Yes.
That's another place where you got it wrong. Your chocolate was in the basket, not in your hand.
Yes.
Darryn.
There we go. That's why we brought Adele onto the podcast.
I'm the
To
observer.
fact check.
He's the talker.
Okay, I'm bringing us back on track. Little Swiss Air, some airline, A220. Where do you fly to?
Cool. We're flying to Portugal, Porto Airport, and we land there with no fuss. I must say it was quite cloudy.
Normally pretty windy out there.
Yeah, it was. It was rainy when we landed. And we land, and I will not lie, that just relief of knowing you've made it to your final destination is...
Yeah.
It's like, I've never felt that happy to be on the ground somewhere else in a long time. So anyway, we land there and we meet my dad at the airport. Lucky to see him. Went quite well. Funny thing, I'll quickly say that happened. We walking through, we go and pick up our bags at the carousel. And you know, in South Africa, and for those people who are overseas that don't know, you have to wrap your bag with plastic. It's basically like cellophane. Not cellophane, sorry.
Like cling wrap.
wrap, exactly. It's like cling wrap that you wrap around your bag.
Well, you don't have to, but it's better to.
Why, Dill?
Because otherwise you open your bag and things that were in the bag aren't in the bag anymore.
Exactly. And that's the problem with South Africa. So we do that, but nowhere else in the world do people do that.
Right.
So it was quite funny. So we're walking through, and it's basically where customs is, where you have to declare. And we're walking through with our bags. And there's a guy there in like a harvest jacket, and he walks out in front of us, and I go, oh no, I just want to get to my dad. I want to get to our accommodation.
You just look like you've tried to seal your bag so that the dogs can't smell the drugs.
No, exactly. But he doesn't look too official in terms of angry or anything. He just walks up to us and he goes, hi. Well, actually, he starts firstly in the conversation. He speaks Portuguese, and I don't know what he's saying. So then he stops and he goes, oh, sorry. He says, which country are you guys from?
Oh, no.
Yeah. And then I go, from South Africa. And then he looks at our bags, he looks at us, he goes, okay, he smiles, and then he lets us through.
Oh, so he knows.
He knows.
Yeah, it was something that you could see he knew. But it was the strangest thing because as we were walking down, he flagged us down probably like 50 meters back already. Like looking at these bags.
But it's almost like he had a bet with his mates. Where he
Yes.
was like, I bet you these guys are from
Yeah.
South Africa.
That's
But it was
amazing.
the strangest thing because it wasn't official at all. Like thinking of the Swiss airport, we get to Porto. It was so relaxed and calm. There wasn't like, how can I say, rigid borders to go through. It was just you walk through and you were done. And he was just randomly standing there. And I don't know, he came out from the one side and he's like, no, where are you guys coming from? But I also wonder why. Do you think there's any other countries perhaps where he was perhaps wondering why is it wrapped?
I think they know, because I did ask my dad later, and he said they've also been stopped and asked about why is there plastic on your bag, because they actually want to know, because no one else does that.
So if we said we came from Colombia, would that have made a difference?
That probably would have been worse.
Yeah, we might have been delayed a little bit getting to my dad. But I do want to say this quick, is for those who don't know, when you're going to the European Union, there's only one point of entry. So we landed in Zurich, which means that That's where all the hectic passport checking and asking happens. But once you're in the European Union, that never happens again.
So, but it's not only you don't have to fly to Zurich.
No. Sorry. Yeah. What I meant is, you only go into the European Union once.
Yes.
Depending which country you land in the European Union, that's your point of entry. But then after that, if you're doing a connecting flight to another country, that doesn't happen again, which is really cool because we were kept expecting, we like getting our passports out or whatever, and you don't need to. You just walk through the airport and you walk out. You're there. You're in the European Union already. So anyway, to keep the story moving, we get to my dad. We are so happy. He's so happy to see us. And we took a nice car trip from Porto Airport to where my dad stays in
Villa de Nova Poirage.
Poirage.
If
That's
I'm
it, yes.
pronouncing that
There
correctly.
we go. Please don't.
I'm going to go with Adele's pronunciation.
But please, if you're from Portugal, don't slate us. We're trying. So we get there, and it was just awesome to be in a place. It's super beautiful in terms of the countryside. That's where we stayed, and we got to relax. The funny part is actually we didn't get to relax because on the first couple of days we went around the town and things. But on that first day when we got there, we only got to bed at 11, 12 at night?
Yes, which was absolute torture for me. So if anybody knows me, around 8 o'clock is my bedtime. So now you throw in a 2-day trip.
Yeah.
And then now the time difference as well. It's only 2 hours.
Yeah.
But add all of that up, going to bed at 11 o'clock that side.
Why were you going to bed at 11 o'clock? What were you doing?
Well, when you get there, you're excited to see each other. You want to tell all the stories.
Okay.
We haven't seen his dad and Simone in almost a year.
So you weren't out clubbing and...
No.
No, fully, but I was there, heavy, hitting the clubs hard. I brought 4 ways to Portugal.
But yes, we were just sitting around the kitchen table and just catching up, but my eyes were just glazing over.
For the people who don't know Adele, I've learned to know over time, and eventually she gets to the point where she no longer talks. That's when you know she's tired. Like her social energy is gone and she's ready to go to bed. So I noticed this, but she went past that point in Portugal. She went to the point where she literally was falling asleep, like sitting up, and that's how bad it was. She was broken tired. And it was so funny. I didn't know how tired I was that night when I went to bed. Adele still has to take off her makeup and do the usual rituals before going to sleep. And and then so I'm like, I'm just going to jump into bed as I usually do. And I said to her, cool. And then I put my head down and just rolled over a bit and I said, cool, I'm just going to wait for her to get to bed. And I was gone.
But
Finished.
the strangest thing was, I was in the bathroom, busy taking off my makeup. And I was busy talking to you while you were lying on the bed.
Yeah.
And as I was cleaning my face, I just quickly went down, washed it off. And as I walked out of the bathroom, I'm continuing the conversation we're busy having. And you're gone.
Darryn just stops replying in one of the sentences. That's amazing.
That was awesome. So anyway, for those people who don't know, one of the reasons I went to Portugal, but not really to Portugal itself, but I
What?
let me say that again.
Try again.
For those people who don't know, I went to Portugal with a stated intention to do something.
An unstated intention.
An unstated intention.
Not attention. Intention. Okay, start again. Darryn, tell us one of the reasons you went to Portugal.
So for those people who don't know...
I'm getting a Sintra flashback now.
So for those people who don't know, one of the unstated attention...
So you're confused now.
Okay, I've got it. Here we go. For those people who don't know, one of the unstated intentions of me going to Portugal was to propose. And Adele didn't know about it at all.
That's why it was unstated.
Thank goodness I managed to keep it under wraps, which most people get applauded for, because sometimes I heard that the fiancé-to-be finds out or has a suspicion. So, did you know?
Yeah, I was going to ask, did you have any idea, Adele?
No. To be very honest, I had no idea. On the trip. Before the trip, there were 2 moments where I thought. The first moment was when we were walking around in Lovisa So as most girls will know, Lovisa is the place you go to get very nice jewelry
I did
at an
not know
affordable
that, so-
price.
I also didn't know that.
So we were walking around, and that was the first time he actually asked me, so what's your ring size? So now I don't know my ring size. All I know is I can give him Lovisa's ring sizes, which goes from small to medium to large.
And Lovisa's ring sizes are the ones, they're important.
Yeah, because that correlates to actual ring size. But yeah, I basically bought a ring there. And when he asked the question there, the thought did come up into my mind and thinking, is he maybe thinking about it or planning it? And I think the second time it came up, I remember you told me once, you said you went to Mug and Bean with your mom and Darryl late on a Sunday afternoon. And I don't know why, but the thought came up to me that maybe, just maybe, you are busy buying a ring. But then in that moment,
Interesting.
I told myself, I said, I do not want to know, and I do not want to put the pressure on this Portugal trip, because similar to this podcast, if you put your expectations very high, you are going to be disappointed, and then you might actually ruin a very great vacation.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to go in with the idea of maybe he will use this as an opportunity to propose, and I'm so glad I did, because I put it out of my mind and I didn't think of it again. So when the day actually came, I didn't expect it at all.
That's the best way to go into it. Because I'll tell you something interesting is that the moment you told me, Darryn, that you were going to Portugal, I knew you were going to propose. Long before you told me about the plan and all of that.
Hectic.
I knew straight away when you said you're going to Portugal that you were going to do it.
So Adele doesn't know this, but some people here knew, okay? Obviously, her parents knew because I had to ask them, one. And two, I spoke to a select few people to tell them what I'm doing. So yeah, but you wanted to ask?
No, funny enough, actually, after we've told people we got engaged, a lot of them already said the moment they saw we were in Portugal,
Yeah.
they all
Just
thought,
made sense.
Yeah, he would propose.
Oh, there we go. Darryn, you know what I mean? Aim low and avoid disappointment.
Okay.
No,
So I think that segues us into the story of the proposal.
that's true, yes. So the proposal happened on about the fourth day, I think it was. Third or fourth day.
Yes, it was on the Monday.
Oh, yes, that was the best part. Sorry to interrupt there, but you told me a specific day, and I messaged you to ask you how it went, but you'd actually done it the day before.
Yes.
And then you didn't know what I was talking about because I was so scared that the slightest chance that Adele would be looking at your phone. So I didn't want to message and go, how did the proposal go? So I was just like, how was it? And you're like, what? And I'm like, dude, how did it go? And you're like, what are you talking? I'm like, how can you be this dumb?
I ask that question every day.
Wow.
And then you realize you're like, oh, yeah, no, I did that yesterday. And I'm like, okay, so how was it?
Well, yeah, it was good. So basically what happened was, I'll tell you it from my perspective and then Adele can tell you it from hers. Okay, so the first thing that happened was, I had a plan in mind. Already before we left for Portugal, I asked my dad to look for places that could be good spots for a proposal. Okay, and he did a stellar job. Love my dad. I think Simone helped him. That's his partner.
I know she did.
Yeah. So she and him went and just sent me a bunch of locations. And I earmarked two that I thought were really good. And then my dad physically went out there and took videos and pictures of the place for me. Now, for those who don't know, Portugal is about the size of the Northwest province. From top to bottom, it's 6 hours. And from left to right, it's 2 hours to travel. So my dad literally drove quite far to one of the places just to do it. But I really appreciate him. Shout out, Dad. We'll get you on the podcast soon. And basically, he went and I earmarked one. It looked beautiful. It was at a hotel that's on a side of a cliff. Okay, it's called Ethos Hotel, and it looked beautiful. It just looked amazing. It's got it looks out at the ocean, and the sun sets right where you look out. And it's got this whole balcony section. I thought, oh, this will be great. You know, how beautiful will this be? So anyway, I tell him, go for it. Book us the things. He does all the stuff. Now he says to me, don't worry, my boy, about the price. This is about the day. And I go, Dad, please don't be stupid. This is just a proposal. Dad is not a person that wants a massive, crowd-driven spectacle. No, exactly. Doesn't want that. So anyway, I go, right, do this. He goes, it's booked. He sends me the things. Okay, so now, all the way through, okay, I go and get the ring beforehand, which shout out to my mom for helping. And basically, I have that in my bag. And I also was so scared, flashback to the airport, that through the whole scanning process of x-rays, something would come up and she would notice something.
Yeah, I never thought of that.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, that always scared me. I was like, I hope. No, I just kept her occupied, but she never ever looked at my bag when I went through. So thank goodness. So anyway, we go and we about. The fourth day, and I say to my dad, okay, now the reason we chose the fourth day is because the weather was bad through the first 3 days that we were there. It was overcast and rainy, and it looked like, okay, at this place, which was north of Portugal. No, it was actually south of Portugal. Sorry, yeah. So it was south of Portugal, and it looked like it was going to be a very sunny day there, so we chose that day. So anyway, on that morning, the day before, we leave to go to the hotel, and we drive out there, and that's actually where we had one of our best meals. Was as we got into the town where the hotel was. It was an awesome place that we ate, and we go through to the hotel, and we get to the hotel, and on that day it was overcast and a bit drizzly, and we go and check this place out. Now, what we told Adelle was that my dad, when he was back in South Africa sorting out some things, Simone did a hell of a lot of stuff around the house that they have there. And he felt like he really owed her just, spoil her, just to do something special for her. So I told Adelle, and my dad kept going with this thing. He said, we're doing this for Simone. That's why we're there at the hotel, to do something really nice for her. So anyway, yes.
So now flashback.
Yes.
I actually realized how unobservant I was because we get to the hotel, and as you do, we go to the rooms, and then we go up after we went into our room, which was absolutely gorgeous. We went up with your dad and Simone to their room, and now we didn't actually physically go into their room, but I could automatically see it was smaller than ours. And then I was like, that's quite strange.
This is a treat for Simone, and they've got a worse room.
And even worse, the second thing we realized is that our room had a kettle, and hers didn't have a kettle. And she
is an avid coffee drinker.
Early in the morning. And somehow this did not click with me, because I was like, why do we have the better room? And I only realized this afterwards.
Okay.
Well, there we go. And we get there, and it's magnificent. It's like ridiculous. And I say, like, Adelle's always like, wow, this is so nice. We're going to enjoy our time here, and let's go walking around the hotel. Now, I also say to that, let's just go and have a walk around the hotel, see the area. Now, I'm obviously doing that under the pretense of finding out where I'm going to do stuff and what's, the best place and so forth. So we go and walk around, and I immediately start noticing it's not as beautiful as the pictures. So I'm like, I'm a bit let down. I can see, like, the plants in the pictures were nice and green and lush, and now they're not as great, and it's a bit barren and bare where the deck is, where you look out over the ocean.
There goes our free trip to the hotel in Portugal.
Slating the hotel now.
No, I'm not slating. Well, when they hear the true story, if they ever listen to this podcast, then yeah. But
However, if you're the photographer, stellar job. World class.
No, but I can concur. It wasn't bad.
Yes.
It was a bit barren. It was a bit empty in a weird way, because you're on a cliffside. So you can see the sea in front of you, but you don't actually see the edge of the cliff. And I think that was what kind of made it feel a little bit empty and a little bit further from the sea.
Yeah.
And took away a little bit of the beauty, if I can put it that way.
Well, there you go, hotel. If you know what to move the cliff, get rid of that rubbish, make it more interesting, just change the whole landscape. Ridiculous. How dare you?
Yeah. Well, when you hear the price at the end, you might actually ask for that. So anyway, okay, I'm now my heart's kind of falling because I'm like, flip, I need to do this because we only kind of have one day of sun and this isn't the place to do it. So we go through our day, we have a nice meal for supper, and I tell Adele I was going to go and help my dad sort out something with his computer. Now, she doesn't know this through this podcast, but I wasn't doing that. I was going to his room to chat to him and say, Dad, this isn't the place. Like, I've realized now it's not going to work the way I wanted it to. And I was heavy stressed. So anyway, I go to his room and chat about that, and him and Simone say, listen, Darryn, tomorrow we're going to go to Sintra and a place called Cabo de Rock. And
Cabo de Roche.
Cabo de Roche, yes.
Okay.
Thank you.
Once again, thank you for being on the podcast.
And they said they're both exceptionally beautiful. I'm sure we'll find a place there to do it. Now, Dill, I don't know about you, but we people who plan stuff, because in the industry that we are, in the film and television industry, you plan really like down to the T.
Except for this podcast.
Except for this podcast. Yeah, no, this one we just said bugger it.
Sit down, start.
Yeah. So I had already planned everything for this hotel. And now I'm throwing this out the window, I'm just winging it. And I'm like, this is the most stressful part of my life.
When you say you plan things for the hotel, what do you mean?
Okay. So
because this is important.
We obviously, when we booked at the hotel, my dad told them the whole story of what's going to happen. My son is coming from South Africa to propose to his then girlfriend at your hotel, and we need some help. And they, as the hotel staff, jump at this opportunity like it's the best thing to ever happen at the Ethos Hotel,
which
in
is
Portugal.
Good.
It is good.
Shout out to the hotel.
Shout out to the hotel. I won't lie, they were amazing. They're so special. But these hotel staff, it's like it's their big day. So
nice.
they went full on, and it was amazing. So they're already emailing me before we leave saying, Hi, Darryn. Your dad has told us what you're wanting to do. Please let us know what you want. Oh, we can do flowers. We can do chocolates. We can do music. We can buy stuff for you.
Swiss
we can do
Air,
decor.
take note. Customer service.
Exactly.
But granted, this hotel was like first class.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So now I'm stressed. Now I go, what the hell am I going to do? I'm just going to have to just literally wing it and see what comes up the next day. Okay, so anyway, I go to sleep that night. I'm surprised I slept because I was so stressed. And
what were you stressed about?
Well, a couple of things. Because is it going to be a nice place? Is this Cabo de Roche or Sintra? I've never been there. Is it going to have any place that I can propose? One. Number two, I'm stressed because Adele explicitly said to me, I do not want a proposal that is in the limelight with 1 million people there. I don't want it to be out in public.
Were you stressed that she would say no?
That's a funny thing. No, but because your mind works like it does, you always are overthinking it. And right in the back, deep down, you go, but what happens if she does?
I've got to spend this whole holiday still.
Exactly. So it's all these things going through your head, and you're just like, well...
Because I don't think anyone that knew had any doubts that she would say yes.
No, for sure. And everyone was so excited I got that. But when you, the person getting down on one knee, you know what I mean? It's nerve-wracking as hell. So anyway, we wake up the next morning, and it is probably the best day one of the best days we had in Portugal, full stop. You know, in terms of weather and just everything was awesome. So we go downstairs and we go for breakfast. Now, the hotel staff, first of all, I wanted to just let you know, are buzzing around like this is the day. And they, even just the way they greeted us at the thing, and I felt like just taking them aside and saying, guys, calm down, please.
To be honest, I noticed they were very, very happy and excited. But I automatically thought, well, I've never gone to a upper class, first class hotel. Maybe that's just how they are because they're getting paid the big bucks to be that way.
Customer service, take notes, Swiss Air.
Oh, no.
So anyway, I'm like, cool. Well, we go and have breakfast, and my dad kind of tells us where we're going. He says we're going to Sintra today and Cabo de Roche. And thank goodness, it all turned out, perfect. He decided to go to Cabo de Roche first. And I was worried because Cabo de Roche and Sintra, Cabo de Roche is about 10 minutes away from basically Sintra.
What is it exactly? Is it a town?
No, it is the most western point of Europe. It is just like a rock outcrop with a lighthouse.
Oh, okay.
And so I didn't know this. I didn't know what the hell it was. So honestly, Dill, on the way there, I'm busy researching on my phone what I'm in for and what the sites and things and spaces are where I could potentially propose. So anyway, just to let you know, the night before, my dad said, listen, at Cabo de Roche, there's a lighthouse, but that's where everyone goes. And there's like a monument. But we're going to walk down the cliff and we're going to find a secluded spot for you.
Cool.
So I'm like, okay. So anyway, Dill, yes, I've been stressing my life for a couple of things, whether it was for work or for things in my life. But the closer we got to this place, I was dying.
Adelle, did you notice that he was behaving a bit strange?
To be honest, looking back on it, once again, I don't think I was that observant. You were a bit unsettled. I remember the night before, but I thought, I don't know if I should mention this, you were having some stomach problems. So I don't know if that was the stress or the stomach problems causing that or which way around.
So, pro tip, get a stomach bug the night before your proposal so you avoid any suspicion. Just eat wheat.
But no, I didn't suspect anything in your behavior.
Awesome. Yes, winning. I'm like a ninja. Stealth. So anyway, I was dying and we arrived there.
What? Say that so casually.
Yeah. I was sweating. I was stressed so much. So I lost years of my life just driving to Cabo de Roche. So anyway, we get
But you're
there.
worth it, Adelle. You are worth it.
100% worth it. Because I want to do it properly. So anyway, we get there and we start walking out basically towards where the monument is. And I actually needed the bathroom. For side note, so I go to the bathroom there, and you have to pay 50 cents. We also use cents there for the euro.
400 rand.
Yo, just go to the bathroom. I was like, it's like $15. I was bleak. So anyway, paid $50 to go to the bathroom, but I needed that. Otherwise, I don't think I would have made it to the proposal.
Thank you for letting us know that part, Darryn. Very vital to the story.
So we walk out to the...
That's it. That's all we needed to know about the bathroom. You went to the bathroom and you really needed it. Thank you. Let's move on with the story. Great. Very, very important detail.
So we walk out to where the monument was, and it's got a nice rock outcrop, literally looking at the sea. And supposedly they say you can actually see the North American coast.
Hey?
Yeah, I know. It sounds weird, but if you read the things, you can't really. But a lot of people say you can, because remember, it's the westernmost point of Europe. So you're looking out over the Atlantic.
I don't believe
No.
I can't substantiate these
No.
claims.
Okay, just go look on. Oh, geez, like now it's like you put.
Oh, is it Darryn, the Earth flat? Is that what you're going to tell us next?
No, I'm just saying. They say you can. People say you can, but you can't. Okay, so anyway, I'm looking there and I'm like, okay, this is too busy. There's too many people here. This isn't the place I'm going to do it. Literally, there's hundreds of tourists there. So I'm just like, okay, no, this is a bad idea. And now I'm stressing even more because I'm like, geez, we're here at the first place. I need to find a place. If I don't find a place, we only have one more place we're going to today that I can do this. And then it's raining tomorrow. So I'm like, okay, cool. So my dad says to me, and I don't know if Adelle heard that, but he's like, yeah, guys, maybe let's get away from here. Let's go and just walk along the cliff and see what we can see. So in my mind, I'm like, well done, Dad. I mean, subtle match. Yeah. So, yeah, but Adelle still doesn't realize.
Yeah.
So,
guys, let's go over there where there's less people.
So yes, so I now start walking, and we walk to the left. That's basically like this rock outcrop that goes kind of all the way down to also a cliff, but it's this awesome, amazing. By the way, all the pictures are on social media if you follow me on Facebook, and rock outcrop that looks out to the ocean, and the sun was so bright it was glistening off the top of the ocean, and basically there's just green hills that look like the Sound of Music to your left, and then just rocks looking just absolutely beautiful. And in my mind, I just knew. I was like, okay, This is where I'm doing it.
Nice.
Now, I have the ring in my little backpack that I have on. Okay, it's not even in my pocket or anything. So I'm thinking, how am I going to do this transition so Adelle doesn't know, right? So I say to Adelle, let's go walk down to the bottom because there's no one there. Now it's like a little rock outcrop literally on the edge. And she goes, Miller, maybe the reason no one's there is because we're not supposed to go down there.
So now that's the thing, because I mean, in South Africa, naturally, whenever we go to Cape Town, same type of landscape, there's always people walking to the edge or, going to a certain place. But for some reason here, nobody was walking down this pathway to the edge of this cliff. And now my first thing is what I'm thinking of is this is Europe. If people are not there, there's probably a reason they're not there. So that's what I was thinking. So the more he's pushing me to go down this, the more I'm like pulling back and saying, are we allowed to? Should we be going down here?
And the more she does that, the more I'm like, yes, we are. Let's go down there. Come on, man. You can do it. Because I'm just like, please, I need to get you down there. Otherwise I can't propose. And like I said, just before that, I said, right, I'm committing. Let's go. So, now it's like getting her down there. And the more we go down, Dill, the more she goes, are you sure we should be down? I'm like, yes, I'm sure.
Maybe I was just affirming in yourself. Are you sure you want to do this?
I love you. And we walk down and I go, cool, let's take some pictures. And as we go down, we're taking pictures. I'm taking pictures of her. And then she goes, do you want me to take pictures of you? So I'm like, no, it's fine. It's fine. Don't worry. I'll take some pictures of you. And I keep, saying, let's go down further, a little bit further, a little bit further. And eventually we get down to where the rock outcrop is. We're sitting and I realize. And then I go, what am I going to do to transition this ring out of my bag? So I say to her, okay, let me take some pictures of you. And she stands at the rock outcrop, so I take it with the sea behind her and I take some pictures of her. And then I go, and she goes, do you want me to take some pictures of you? And I go, yes, please. And I hand her the phone. And as she grabs the phone, I really start just like fiddling with my bag a bit and getting the ring out. And I start moving the ring out of my bag and I keep it in my hand and I put it behind my back. Okay. So she starts climbing a little bit higher so she can get some good angles because she's a great photographer.
There were some majestic poses that you had in your pictures, Darryn. I'll say that.
Exactly. So, but you'll see why now. So I start going right. She starts taking pictures and I go, cool. Well, it's now or never. I have to do it. So I take the ring out and I start getting down on one knee. And I start noticing something. Adelle is taking pictures of me still. So now the ring has come around my side, so it's there. I get down on one knee and I start lifting it up and she's still taking pictures.
How far away was she?
I would say about 2-3 meters.
Oh, no, so she's close.
She's
Okay.
close, yes, yeah. So I'm like, I'm concerned now because I'm like, I'm waiting.
So from my perspective I'm busy taking this photo, but what people don't see is right in the background is the ocean. And the sun is reflecting off of the ocean and it's literally beaming straight into my eyes. So as I'm taking this picture, I'm looking through the phone to take a picture of Darryn. And then at one stage I see he was changing his position, but I thought he was lifting up his leg or he's trying some strange, I don't know, a Captain Morgan pose or something. So I'm smiling silly, like busy taking this photo, not noticing that he was bending down onto one knee. And it is only when I started coming out from the back of the phone that I changed the angle and the box then went over the ocean and I actually saw the shadow of the box. And only at that point did I realize that you were holding a box and you were down on one knee.
Well, there's me going,
She's just ignoring this. Just like, I don't want to deal with this. I'm just going to pretend that's not there until you put it away.
That's exactly it. So anyway, the proposal happens and it was, I literally in my mind, I couldn't have, thought up a more perfect proposal. It all just came together, it was in the most perfect place. Obviously, she said yes. Yay.
Although I think I was so dumbfounded. I think at one stage, when I get surprised, I freeze.
Yeah.
And in that moment, I was just completely dumbfounded. I think at one stage I shook my head. But what I was actually saying is like, you don't even have to ask. But yes, I definitely said yes.
So there we go. It's confirmed. It's in the podcast. That must mean that it's true. So, but yeah, so I did that. It was so cute. There was a Italian couple up on the hill standing next to Simone. So Simone stayed up top. Now, we'll tell you what happened with my dad. It's a kind of a separate story. But so there's a couple of Italians that are a couple standing on top of the hill, and they noticed that this has happened, and you just hear them going, "Oh, congratulations!" They're screaming down from the hill, and I look back, I'm like, "Oh, hey!" And then, yeah, so it was quite cute. So now, what happened during that whole time as we're going down the hill, and I'm telling Adelle needs to come with, my dad is slowly following like a creepy stalker. And my dad is like you say, Dolls, he's about as subtle as a buffalo.
Your dad is not a small person.
He's not a small person. So he starts coming down this hill, but he starts like basically falling down the hill. You know what I mean? It's like sliding and slipping and like jumping. You just hear him coming down this hill. No, Adelle, that should have been a massive sign, but it wasn't. It was like in your mind.
Okay, so just to give a little bit of context, I did turn around and see your dad come stumbling down the hill, which, should have raised something again, but as we established, are not very observant, A. And B, the previous day, or a few days ahead of that, we went to Obidos, and your dad at one stage climbed this hill up to go and take photos, and then you joined him. And I think that was the first thing that I referenced, was like, oh, your dad's just being adventurous. He wants to come and take pictures. So I think that also played out perfectly, where I didn't suspect a thing.
And he comes sliding down this hill, and lo and behold to us, he's recording a video. He just comes moving down this hill, but like full on, to the point where I thought he hurt himself, like he hurts his back or something. So anyway, and he gets it because he's trying to get there in time for me to go down on one knee. Anyway, he slides in there, and it's as he stopped that I realized now's my moment. And then I busted the ring out, I dropped down. Adelle took forever to realize, and there's he's fully. But then he comes like right there doing the things, and obviously Adelle and I completely forgot about him at that stage. But he's the person who took the video.
Oh, that's amazing.
It was
stopped it in the middle.
Stopped it in the middle because he was falling down the hill, so his thumb hit the record button, and then he realized, thank goodness he did, that he hit it again.
Ew.
So you'll notice there's like on our proposal video, there's like a literal piece, as Adelle says yes, that's gone. And that's why we had to confirm it on the podcast.
I can just picture your dad doing exactly that. It's amazing.
Yeah, you know, just because you know him, it's like when I said that, you go, "Yup, that's Henny. Yeah, that sounds about right." Yeah.
So,
yes,
interesting thing. That was the first proposal.
yes.
So the funny thing is, as the proposal was done, we are now slowly walking up this hill. And this is now the first time I realized Portugal heat is not something to mess with, because it's the first day the sun's out and it really got hot very quickly. But as we're walking up the hill back up to Simone, I remember I said to you, thank you, Miller, for not doing it publicly. Because that's always just been one of my things. And lo and behold, he had something in store for me to make sure it was publicly.
I love my dad. He's like, right, I've done this. I'm going to go even further now. So he walks up to a busco there. There's an artist, a musician who's playing his guitar and singing. And he says to him, now we're still walking up the hill. Now, I don't know. My dad turned into the 21 years.
Is your dad? He's everywhere.
He turned into like the 21-year-old version of himself, and he sprinted up the hill in front of us and literally goes to the guy and says, these two my son just proposed to his fiance now, and can you do a song for them? So anyway, we're coming up the hill and we get to Simone and she gives us a hug and everyone's so excited and so forth. And we start walking back to where the monument is. And as we walk up there, we start hearing a song, which is in the video right at the end. That song was actually done because my dad asked him to sing it for us. And yeah, so we're sitting there and he starts singing. And then he says, Darryn and Adelle. And we're all like, oh, wow. And Adelle's like, well, never mind, publicly.
So that I could still handle. That was not. But then Like the people were oblivious.
Yes.
It was just a song dedicated to us. Nobody was there when you asked the question.
Yes.
You know, it was nice and private. But then,
So, to guide us back,
Yes.
wonderful not viewers, listeners, you will remember that Darren's father communicated to the hotel that the proposal was happening. But now the proposal has not happened at the hotel.
So now we all excited and elated and stuff, and we just, you know, we're going on with our day and we're heading back to the hotel now. And I get this message from the hotel staff to say, Darryn, just letting you know everything's set up and ready. The flowers are on the balcony. The music's playing. We've done all the stuff for you. And everyone's excited. And I go, oh my goodness.
so to give a bit of context as well, Simone said she had a video chat set up with her family.
With
remember?
her family, yes, yeah.
Yes, and it had to be specifically for what was it, 5:30?
Yes.
So we had to be back at the hotel at 5:30
Yes.
for this video chat. And on the way back to the hotel, Darryn is on his phone frantically typing. And I'm wondering what's going on.
And Adelle keeps going, are you speaking to Adelle? And I'm like, no.
Yeah, I'm not that important.
And then I asked, is it work? And he said, yes, no, work. There's something that I need to help them with. So I was like, okay.
And he has me messaging the hotel staff, and they're just telling me how excited they are that the whole kitchen staff is
What
ready.
did you say to them?
No, I didn't say anything. Now, I'm trying to soften the blow. No, I said to them previously, I said I'll let them know what's going to happen with the proposal, because today it might happen outside of the hotel. I even told them that. I did, and I've got the message, so do not, if you want, I can show it to you. Okay? So anyway, so I'm going back, and I go, oh, thanks, guys. Maybe can you put the flowers in our room, maybe? Now, she messages me back, and I can see she's disappointed. She's a bit bleak. She asked why. She said, I can do that for you, but we made such a nice presentation for you outside.
Now you feel bad?
Yeah, no, I feel bad. I go, oh, okay, no, sorry, don't worry. You can keep the flowers outside. So I'm like, oh my goodness. Now, I can't speak to my dad because it's me, Adelle, Simone, and my dad in a car. So I can't say anything. I don't want Adelle to know that this is what we actually did. So anyway, we get back to the hotel. Adelle and I go back to our room, but my dad and Simone go and speak to them. Okay, and they are beyond excited. They are losing
when you
their
say
mind.
your dad and Simone go and speak to them, they didn't tell them
No.
it's already happened.
No one's told them.
Oh.
No one's told them that it's already happened.
Because I thought you were going to say, and they are bleak because they...
No. But my
Okay.
dad's also, he went there to go and talk to them to tell them that it's already
couldn't
happened.
do it.
But he couldn't do it because he felt so bad because they are ecstatic. But I'm talking about losing their mind. So I'm chilling in the room and I'm just thinking, what are we going to do? And I get this call from my dad. And my dad goes, my boy, I'm sorry to let you know, but you're going to have to do it again. And you're going to have to sell it. You're going to have to act professional. You're just going to have to do it again. Now, I haven't told Adelle this. She doesn't know. She didn't even know they're supposed to be at the hotel.
Wow.
So now I'm like, oh my goodness. What do I do? So I get off the phone, I just look at Adelle and I go, well, she's already said yes, so let's have fun with it. So I turn to her and I go, Angel, I just have to let you know, I was supposed to do the proposal here at the hotel. And the hotel staff have prepped everything for our proposal. That's already happened. We're going to have to do it again. So she takes the ring off her finger. We put it back in the ring box. I put it back in my pocket. And we go downstairs to do proposal number 2.
You should have just gone down there and just like literally walked into the middle and gone, here, look at this. And then you're like, yeah, cool. And then you both leave.
Shame. No, I couldn't do that. So anyway, we walked downstairs and Simone and my dad were like leading it. But I told my dad, okay, we're going to do it again. So we go down, we go to the bar, we have a couple of drinks. And Simone goes, yes, yeah, I've got to go up and do, and that was the cue. So that was the cue for me.
Okay.
I've got to go up and do my meeting. And I was like, okay. And then I said, Angel, do you want to go and look at the sunset? And she goes, yes. But she obviously knows we're doing this again.
Okay, but what are the hotel staff doing are they around?
Yes, they're buzzing around
Okay,
like
okay.
all over the place.
So
yeah.
they were setting this up for a sunset proposal.
Yes.
So that's why we had to wait a little bit, and they were setting up everything
Okay.
outside on this cliff view of the sunset. So I love this. So when it was ready, they said, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
So now Darryn and I are walking down this what do you call it?
It was literally like a
Like a pier, but over the land.
yes.
Yeah.
Great.
Pier over the land.
Right? I'm sure it's got a name.
A boardwalk.
A boardwalk,
A little
yes. The
boardwalk,
boardwalk,
walking
yes.
to the edge where they've set up everything there. So now as we're walking down, I remember saying to Darryn, and we're like slowly walking each other through this process. Like we're telling each other how we're going to act this out
We're literally
now.
talking, yeah.
We're like, okay, we're going to walk to the edge. And then we're like, okay, are we going to wait too long? And I'm like, no, Darryn, they are watching and waiting for this to happen. I'm not going to sit here for a half an hour
Let's
before
just
we
get
do
it
this.
done.
Let's just do it.
So I said to her, okay, what you're going to do is you're going to walk out to where the balcony area is by the cliff, and you're going to look out at the ocean.
I love how he's saying that's what he said. That's what I said.
Nice. That's why you're here.
I'm just saying.
And then she said, I'm going to go and stand there, and you're going to go walk back a bit, wait a couple of seconds, and then tell me to turn around, and you'll be there with the ring on one knee. Right, so I go, lekker. And we get there, I kind of forget the plan, so I start pouring us champagne. So I poured champagne.
Classic Darryn.
Yeah, classic Darryn. I'm just like, well, actually, because I'm a bad actor, I just need a bit of Dutch courage, a bit of alcohol to get me going. So rocked a bit of alcohol. I say, okay. And she walks out onto the balcony, looking over at the ocean. And I take a couple of steps backwards. I reach into my back pocket. I get down on one knee and I go, Angel. And she turns around and she does the best performance I've ever seen from my fiance. Ever. It's like
Already
Oscar winning.
your fiance at this point.
She does this. She goes, oh my goodness. Her hands go up to her mouth. And she goes, oh my goodness. And she almost breaks out into tears. She looks at me and she just says yes. Now, we didn't know this, but Simone obviously doesn't go for a meeting.
Yeah.
She's standing with the hotel staff that have. Subsequently, since we've left and gone out to where the outcrop look thing place is, they're literally standing all at the windows, though, all of them.
Oh, wow.
All of the windows looking out at us doing this. So they're all standing there and she's standing with them. They're all speaking Portuguese. Now Simone
it's
can
awkward.
speak. That's heavy awkward. But Simone can speak Portuguese and she's standing with them. And all they said is, they just said, wow, she didn't even hesitate. And she was crying laughing because she was like, obviously this is the second time, she didn't even hesitate. And they were just so excited, they all just clapped and lost their minds.
You know what would be really funny?
Yeah?
What if someone from the hotel saw the video you posted and go, that's not where that happened?
Well, if they listen to this podcast, they'll be like,
Oh, wow.
So anyway, we there, and then there's this girl, one of the hotel staff there. She's running around like a bee, taking pictures.
So,
Yeah.
if I can give a bit of context, as we're walking down this boardwalk, I can already see they've put out 2 chairs there for us with blankets and pillows. There's a nice fire going. And one of our favorite songs, they put a speaker there and they're busy playing our favorite song. So as we're walking out there, I'm like, wow, this is so romantic. And as we're looking out at this, the sunset, I'm seeing this white flash on my peripheral view. And I'm like, what's going on? Only to find out that they had a little, what do you call this, little snap scan?
A Pix.
Like a Polaroid.
Polaroid.
Polaroid,
exactly.
yes. And she's busy taking pictures. So they literally, at the end, they gave me a gift, which was one of the most beautiful gifts. They took a Polaroid of the whole proposal, from where he went down on his knee, where I said yes, where the ring went on my finger. They took a picture of each moment, and each one of the hotel staff wrote a beautiful message
Wow,
next to
that's
that
cool.
and gave that as a gift to me. But not just that. This one girl of the hotel staff, she was absolutely adorable. So the previous day when Darryn was doing his scouting, we were walking on the same boardwalk. And at one stage we were just looking out over the sea and we hugged each other as we were looking out at the sunset, which wasn't a sunset because it was cloudy that day. Lo and behold, they also gave me another gift. And this gift was a picture of that day before as we were holding each other on the boardwalk.
That's so cool.
Framed. They framed it.
And
Yeah.
they put it in a frame. And shame, this girl came to me all excited and she said, please don't think I'm a stalker. I saw you guys yesterday on the boardwalk and it was so beautiful and I took a picture of you guys. And she framed that picture for us as a gift. And I must say, those two gifts together was one of the most beautiful gifts. That just added the cherry on the top of that day.
That's awesome.
Uh,
That's so special.
All I can say, Dill, is Ethos Hotel, winner.
Looks like rubbish, but no.
Not at all. Not at all. It literally made the day so special, and we wrote them an amazing note when we left the hotel that we took a picture of, and we also sent to them just so they had that, because they really went above and beyond, and I'd like to say a massive thank you to them, because even though we had to do it the second time, and sorry to them that they didn't know, they really just made it even more special than it already was. So yeah.
And to be honest, I think the first time when you proposed, I was so dumbfounded. I even told you I can't even remember half of the things that you said to me. So it kind of gave me like a second opportunity to have that moment. And now we've got a video and photos. and it's an amazing story. It's our own story.
Exactly.
And no one injured themselves on the second round trying to get the pictures.
Shout out to my dad and his body,
Well, it sounds like your dad did a lot of work for this as well.
He did.
You're coming down the mountain, running back up the mountain.
And Simone, I would like to say a big thank you to Simone for all the effort that she put into that day and everything else in our Portugal trip, which you'll hear about on the next episode, because we've got part 3 coming.
I haven't got engaged, so I don't have a story to tell for this one. So that's going to bring us to the end.
Damn it, Dill. Jeez, I thought you were going to come with some epic thing that you haven't told us. And you say, well, actually, guys.
Jeez, that'll be awkward.
But yes, guys, thank you so much for joining us for this episode of the Aim Low podcast. And thank you to Adelle for joining us.
And she'll be joining us on the next one as well.
She will, 100%.
Yeah, a not so amazing guest will be back again.
I told you not to say that, Darryn.
Well, don't worry. I have to live with it. You don't.
Cool. We'll see you guys on the next one.
We will. Aim low, and you'll never be disappointed.
I'm having the last word on this one.
Okay, Dill.
How about me?
Portugal and proposals, rough flights and early nights. These are some of the stories we've talked about on our podcast.
If you made it this far.
She told me not to do it publicly, so guess what I did?
You did it publicly, didn't you?
Yes, I did. But that was the second time.
It was a perfect proposal. The sun was shining and the answer was yes, and my dad fell down the hill.
Don't you agree, Dill?
I wasn't there. Thank you so much for listening to episode 3 of our podcast. Make sure you follow and do all the things below and send it to all of your friends. I got the last word.
For more Portugal adventures, tune in for part 3 with Adelle
That's me.
next week or whenever we release this.